So first of all, just some basics for the company. They started back in 2011, so they are not a new company, although they recently went public via a SPAC merger. Now, they initially started out with proprietary camera that captured 3D photos of buildings, and that's really where they made their money. They were selling these cameras for about $3,200 a camera. When their current CEO took over, that is where the majority of their revenue was coming from. However, he had the vision to expand the way that this company would be operating. While the company still does sell those cameras, they also have made it so that people can use a device as simple as their iPhone in order to capture the inside of a building and turn it into a 3D model. Now, I see this company as one of those ideas that when you think of it, you never really see quite what the entire possibilities are, and those possibilities are just always expanding. That's what Matteport is doing for 3D digitizing of buildings. Let's look at some of the uses. This is probably where you're most familiar with this product. If you've ever been on Redfin looking at homes, you may have seen some 3D versions of these homes. They kind of look like a dollhouse. So how much value does this actually add? Well, if you are an agent, 74% of agents using Matterport win more listings, and 95% of people are more likely to call about properties with 3D virtual tours. This is a product that people want too. According to this article, Millennial and Gen Z respondents were overwhelmingly in favor of more immersive listings. For instance, 83% of Millennials and 94% of Gen Zs would switch to an agent offering these services. Not only would younger generations switch, but around 86% would recommend these agents to their friends. And let's just look at these statistics. 99% of sellers say a 3D tour would give their listing a competitive edge, while 90% of buyers would be more compelled by a listing with a 3D tour, and 55% of buyers would buy a property sight unseen. Now, this doesn't just apply to residential real estate. This works well for commercial real estate as well. Imagine having a building and being able to show a person where they're going to be in that building and take this empty office space and using software be able to convert it into exactly what they want that building to look like or that office to look like on the inside. Changing out the furniture, moving offices within this larger space, being able to look out the window to see what it is that their office will actually look like. How about retail? What could be the uses for retail? Well, say a person wants to shop online, but they kind of miss that experience of being able to walk through an actual department store. In this case, you could have your customer walk through the department store, get to see what's on the shelf, and potentially buy it online. Or say they just want to go to the department store, but they want to know ahead of time exactly where they're going. They can explore the store before they ever get there and know exactly where the product is that they're looking for. How about for a department store's employees? The employee can now train on the environment of the store virtually, memorizing where all of these products are at, and even potentially take quizzes of where these products are at. Lastly, let's just talk about 3D for travel and hospitality. Imagine that you're shopping for an Airbnb, and if you have an Airbnb that you can actually do a 3D tour through, I think you might be more likely to explore that property. Having rented Airbnbs, you see these pictures, but you never quite know exactly what you're getting. If you're one of the renters, you are looking at a 14% increase in bookings by using 3D technology and 300% greater engagement. So I've given you a few examples of how this technology can be used. This slide before you shows a few more examples of where and how it can be used. I think we're just touching on the possibilities here. I was thinking about this just yesterday. What if you were a first responder and you're going into a building? Would you rather look at blueprints of a building, or would you rather be able to see a 3D dollhouse mock-up of the building and know exactly what you're going to be looking at and where items might be located as you go in? So what is the addressable market for something like this? Well, their estimates are actually a bit overblown, probably. What do I mean by that? Well, they're taking the total addressable market as 4 billion buildings in the world and 20 billion spaces. Well, obviously they're not going to be able to reach all of that. Okay, but what if they can just get 1% penetration? Well, now they're looking at more of a $2.4 billion total addressable market. Okay, that's very reasonable here. This is a company that is still very much in its early stages. Their revenue right now is only in the $110 million range. Further down the road, if they could get to 5% penetration, well, now they're looking at a $12 billion market. The good thing about this company is they really don't have much competition going on. They have 100 times the market share of the rest of the market, not just their closest competitor, the rest of the market. They are earning some big customers as well. A deal with Cushman & Wakefield. This is a company that has $9 billion in revenue and 53,000 employees. What will they be doing? The current use case for this company is virtual walkthroughs, spatial data capture services, and building due diligence. Now, the company is really on a great growth cycle. In fact, their growth took off in 2020. What was the catalyst there? They created the iPhone version of their imaging system and put that out. In fact, the CEO said that in 3 days after creating the iPhone app, they got more subscribers in those 3 days than they had the previous 8 years of running the company. The company earns revenue in several different ways. They have a subscription service, which is where they get the bulk of their revenue, but they also have licensing. They have services such as coming to a home or office and scanning that space for the customer. And they also have a product, as I mentioned earlier, that camera. They sell that now for around $2,700 per camera, a 3D camera. Now let's just take a look at the margins on all of these. For the subscriptions, 78% margin. That is fantastic. For licensing, 100%. Services, that's a little more labor intensive, and it's 20% margin. And for the camera, the products, 35%, for a total gross margin of 60%. Let's just look at how some of these have been growing. Total revenue up 21% year over year. 53% growth for the subscription revenue year over year for the second quarter. Let's just look at the revenue being generated by their accounts. So this is the growth from the fourth quarter to the first quarter to the second quarter. We can see that growth. And this is taking the same customers and comparing the amount of revenue that those customers bring in over each quarter. So we can see that the customers that they have are spending more. Let's just finish this video up by taking a quick look at their financials. While their revenue is growing, their losses also grew year over year. Some of that has to do with the merger that took place with Gores Holdings. Some of that has to do with increased research and development. Of course, to grow your business, you got to put some money in, and so they're doing the research and development there. However, even though they did increase their losses year over year for the quarter, they have plenty of cash on hand. They showed at the end of the quarter that they had $42 million in cash on hand. However, that was before they merged with Gores Holdings, which was providing them close to $640 million. I'll let you just take a quick look at this slide and see some of this growth that I'm talking about displayed before you. And I mentioned that at the moment they don't have much competition. However, that's always a concern, isn't it, when you come up with this business idea and then people start to try to compete. Well, one of the things they have is 71 patents in this area to help protect themselves. And the other thing that they have going for them, I think even more interesting, is this ability to expand the capabilities. So recently they just announced that they have a partnership going with Facebook AI. This is for research purposes. Of course, if you're trying to train a robot or an AI to be able to operate in a physical space, it would be nice if that space could be digitized first so that that robot or AI would already be familiar with the space. And so they are providing for Facebook AI their vast data of buildings so that Facebook can use that to start to train future possibilities. This is what the Matteport stock looks like today. It's actually on a little bit of a dip. It did make it up to a recent high of 23. It's back down to around $19 per share. I think this is one of those stocks that over time is just going to continue to increase and increase and increase. I am really excited about this company. I told you that I lucked into buying some shares in the springtime. I'm going to be buying some more shares as the year goes on. This is definitely one of those stocks that I think took the hit from SPACs and their reputation, but now people are starting to see the quality. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up. We need that for the YouTube algorithm. If you have opinions about this company, I'd love to hear them in the comments. If you have opinions about what you think I can do better, I'd love to hear those in the comments as well. As always, share this with a young person in your life. Get them investing. And until next time, enjoy your investing.